Hi my friends, I'm back with an outfit change for our last final video of a 4-part series where I'm showing you guys my entire collection, and there was no way in hell that I could break it down into one video, so I had to do 4 parts. The very first, if you haven't watched them yet, is going over my fragrance mist body sprays and scented lotions. The second one is going over all of the little samples that I have, all the little tiny ones. And the third one that I went over is my entire dossier collection. So we've made it to our final 4th video, which is all of my full-size bottles of fragrance. So like I said, if you haven't watched the other ones, check those out first and come back to this video. And if you have already watched them, then you guys are ready for the grand finale. All right, so I'm just gonna do as I did in the other ones, just a rundown, quick description, show you what I got. You tell me if you like the stuff, if you hate it. If you hate it, tell me how much you hate it. All right, so starting off, I have Rihanna Rebel Fleur. I'm saving this for a designer video or like cheapies that you can get that are good from TJ Maxx. This is a really nice, deep, moody, dark floral scent. Next is another cheapie that you can still get at like any discount store, and that is Vera Wang Princess. This is a very light, airy, aquatic floral, lightly sweet, just a very, very dainty fragrance. Next we have Valentino Voce Viva Intenza. This is an orange blossom vanilla bourbon, so it's floral, but it's sweet and a little dark and sexy. Next we have Alien Mugler Goddess, and this is a very coconut, very sunshine, coconut vanilla type fragrance that is going to be on me all summer long. This is Chloe Love Story, and I think this is one of the better ones from the Chloe range. I find them to be a little generic, if I'm quite honest, but I think Love Story, it's a heavier floral, but it still has a sophistication and is a very beautiful, sexy fragrance. Okay, this is a mini, so I don't know how it escaped me, but this is my Kylie Utopia Vanilla Cocoa. A lot of people didn't feel like this was as coconut as they were hoping for. It's a really dark vanilla coconut, kind of moody, brown sugary, and also has a soapiness. So don't just go off the name. If you can smell this beforehand, I love it, but a lot of people didn't love it. Now on to all of my Le Labo fragrances. This is Neroli 36. This is an amazing Neroli, but vanilla and lightly musky and almost like watermelony type fragrance. It's very complex, but it's very bright and juicy, and I just got it and I can't wait to wear it more. It has a very mild projection, but it smells really nice for the beach or a sunny day. Next is Le Labo Te Matcha 26. This is a really nice, slightly herbal skin scent. It doesn't have a wild projection on it at all. It's just a very intimate, very easygoing, light, gentle scent. So if you're looking for something that's office appropriate, or maybe if you just had a baby, or you tend to get a little bit nauseous towards scents, this is a good one. My absolute baby right here. This is Le Labo Another 13. This is a very musky scent. To me, it smells like the pheromones of the sexiest person that you could imagine. Just imagine whoever you think is attractive. If you think it's Brad Pitt or you think it's Angelina, doesn't matter who it is, just imagine the hottest person and what their pheromones smell like, and this is it in a bottle. So sexy. And last but certainly not least, from my Le Labo collection, we have Bergamot 22, and this is a bright citrus, slightly green summer fragrance, and it has really, really good lasting and projection. So it's not super loud, but it just sticks with you all day, and it's really bright and happy, but slightly musky, woodsy fragrance as well. This is a Zara Wanted Girl. I haven't talked about this one too much because it's a very, almost like black opium. It's very sweet, it's very vanilla, it's almost got like a darker coffee type note to it. It honestly smells like YSL Black Opium if you were to add a little bit of powdery touch to it. Not my favorite, obviously you can see I've had this in my collection for about 3 years and I've hardly made a dent in it. Not really my thing, but performs really, really nice and does get compliments. Who would I be if I didn't have Ariana Grande Cloud? Everybody knows it's a dupe of Baccarat Rouge, but it's a little bit more of the like tropical version. I am almost done with this bottle, as you can see there, and I really like it. I think it performs really well on me, despite some other people's opinions that it doesn't last. This is Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume. This is a 1-note fragrance. This is Cetilox, so it's going to enhance your natural scent. Usually gives a nice light musky scent for people, but it's fantastic for people who really cannot wear fragrance, like they really get a headache, or if you work in an area where you're not allowed to wear fragrance, you could wear this. No one would detect that you're wearing it, but they would think that you smell good as a person. Next we have Gucci Bamboo. This is a slightly floral woody fragrance. It's got a slightly mature vibe to it. I haven't got tons of wear out of it because I think it's just a little slightly too mature for me, but I do think that it's a very, very beautiful scent. I think I just need a little bit more years of wisdom to be able to personally pull this off, but it's very, very clean and very universally flattering on a lot of people. Next one is brand new to my collection, is also going to go into like a cheapies in the future, but this is Mariah Carey M, and this is slightly sweet, light aquatic floral, and it has tiara flower, and I'm not sure of the other notes in this one, but it's just a very light, kind of crowd-pleasing floral, but I picked it up for $10, so figured I'd try it. Next is all of my Okja fragrances. So I have Dream Fuel. This is kind of a nice powdery everyday type scent. Night in Cans. This has a very almost lactonic creaminess, and I think that it fares a little bit better in wintertime or the evening. Next is Sorcery. I personally find this to be a pretty sweet fragrance, but a lot of people on my dedicated reviews of these Okja perfumes felt like it wasn't that sweet. So to each their own. Madame Rose is their version of Delina, so it's a rose, lychee, vanilla type fragrance. I think it's beautiful, but I don't think it's all that groundbreaking like everybody thinks. So, just my opinion. And last but not least is a tropical, fruity, bright, sweet floral, and that is Sarong. So if you like kind of more of a syrupy sweet, a little bit heavier tropical floral, this one would be for you. Next is the classic Flower Bomb by Viktor and Rolf, and as you can see, my juice is getting quite dark, but I have less than half of a bottle left. I'm wondering if I might be able to finish this before it goes off, but as I've said in quite a few videos now, I might just need to get rid of it soon. This one is Ellis Brooklyn West. I don't feel like I have a lot of people that talk about this. This is a musky citrus that's a bit aquatic and a bit floral. So I feel like that's a bit contradictory, that it's kind of a watery fragrance, but still has a powderiness, and it has an undeniable citrus note to it, and it's a wonderfully fresh, light, almost kind of clean laundry type smell. This is Halston for Women by Halston. If you guys haven't seen Halston on Netflix, I did an entire video dedicated to it. There's a designer back in the 70s and 80s, and he came out with a fragrance, and after watching the mini-series on Netflix, I just had to go and check out the fragrance, and it is definitely a very vintage, soapy, floral, powdery fragrance. Not for everybody, but I am happy to have it in my collection because I think variety is the spice of life. And I just have to point out, don't these two bottles look kind of similar? I don't know if Dior got inspired by Halston, but I feel like they look very similar. And this is Jedore Absolute, so this is the intense version, and this, although it is primarily floral fragrance, it's through and through florals, through the mid, top, and base, it is floral. But for some reason, to me, this still reads soapy on the body. And it's a very sexy, clean fragrance. It's clean, but it's not clean in the way of citrus, as you would typically think. It smells like a bubble bath and on a very, very beautiful person. I heard both Demi Rawling, sorry, and Ksenia talk about this Calvin Klein Into You. This is new in my collection. I just happened to stumble across it. It is, in the beginning, a citrus musk fragrance, and it almost smells a little bit masculine at the typical masculine fragrances. And then as it settles down, it becomes creamy and warm not in a winter way, but in a summer night type way, brightened by that citrus. And it's a very sexy, clean, complex fragrance for a very affordable price. You can still find this at discount stores. I've talked about this one in a lot of videos, but this is my eau de toilette version of Givenchy Hakatour. This is a powdery, smoky raspberry type scent, and it is very sweet and a little deep, a little smoky raspberry. It's very sexy, very playful, and I'll be sad when this bottle goes. Next is probably the most expensive in my entire collection. This is my Bond No. 9 signature scent, and this is got oud, it's got musk, it's got rose, and it doesn't smell like any of those things. It smells effervescent, and it is the most difficult fragrance I have ever tried to describe. I don't feel like I can do it justice by describing it, but it is, in my mind, unique. Maybe someone else wouldn't agree with that, but I smell it and I feel like I have never in my life smelled something like this, and you would absolutely never smell like anybody else wearing it. Next is Carolina Herrera Good Girl. And I think that this gets a lot of flack on the internet because a lot of people feel like it's trying to do too much. It's, you know, it's a mismatch of notes, but I think that it is a very sexy fragrance in my opinion. I really like it. I think that it's a date night fragrance. It's rich, it's creamy, it's dark, it's sensual, and I think that people just like to hate on the same thing that everyone else is hating on, but I feel like it's a pretty good fragrance in my opinion. Next up, I have Marc Jacobs Perfect and Perfect Intense. The difference between these two being that the original Perfect in the beginning smells like a red Jolly Rancher and is very juicy, fruity, sweet, floral, very good for summer and springtime, very bright, tart, and fresh. And then the Intense version is a little bit more vanillic, a little bit more gourmand. It has the same DNA-ish that you get from the sweetness of this, but almost translate it from a candy to a cookie. Next, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw my review talking about this Zadig and Voltaire. One thing I would like to mention is I did mention in my previous video that I purchased this from Aura Fragrance and that I was concerned that there was quite a bit of liquid missing in the bottle. I would like to clarify that I was able to speak with the owners, and they told me that because of the frosted glass bottle, that these don't come filled to the top, and that it's like that on all of the fragrances. So they were able to clarify that for me. I made sure to change the title of that video and the thumbnail so that way it wasn't misleading. I don't want you guys to think that they didn't take care of it, because they took care of it. And he did offer me if I wanted to return it or not, and I figured I would keep it, even though, spoiler alert, this is not my favorite fragrance. A lot of people talk about this as a really sweet, creamy, lactonic, chestnut, woody fragrance, and to me this smells floral, peppery, and sharp, and ultra sickly sweet, and I don't get the creaminess that a lot of people talk about. I personally don't like this at all. but I'm going to try and give it a try. I'm going to wear it more. I've worn it on skin 3 or 4 times now, but in my opinion, that's not enough to have a completely staunch opinion quite yet. So I'm gonna keep trying with this. This is also a brand new one to my collection. This is an Italian brand called Correterno, and this is the fragrance Punk Motel. And it has a really amazing, I wish you guys could see in more detail, it has almost like a gothic gold and black label, and that's what really drew me in. I got it at a really cool abnormal gift shop. It's kind of like a gothic gift shop, and this caught my eye. And it's a kind of niche art house type brand, and they have clothing, and it's all apothecary gothic style. The way I would describe this is a creamy, slightly salty, softly rose, and a little bit sweet. Originally, when I first smelled it, the very first thing I thought of was orange creamsicle. And it doesn't have neroli or orange blossom in it to my knowledge, but it does have white rose, which can give a softer rose. It's not as pungent as a red rose. And it has kind of a salty quality to it, but not a marine type saltiness. It's a beautiful fragrance. The projection is moderate, but the performance is pretty long lasting. And I can't wait to try more from this brand. I did sample one called No Sleep, and it was a almost gothic, dusty vintage rose scent, and on the skin ended up going too dusty to the point where it was borderline funeral home on me. But in a way, that very gothic-y, weird, dark, witchy, pagan type scent, I could see wearing every now and again. Next is my collection of Montal fragrances. So I have Intense Cafe. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that. It is a coffee vanilla rose fragrance. It's a little synthetic smelling, but to me it smells really fantastic, and it projects like a monster. It has really great sillage, really great lasting power, and so does its, in my opinion, kind of a counterpart, dark purple, but this is more of a plum, floral, sweet, dark fragrance, much sweeter than Intense Cafe. But if you like Intense Cafe, I would be willing to bet that you would like dark purple. These two are so fantastic in my opinion. But then these two are complete duds. So here I have Givenchy Absolute, and I have Tropical Woods. Givenchy Absolute smells like a very synthetic, artificial vanilla, like flavor, and not only flavor but scent. You know, it's just a very, very artificial vanilla fragrance. And it's all right for, you know, kind of layering it with other things, but it's not great. And then this one is Tropical Wood, and I don't even know how to describe this. To me smells like a synthetic bomb. I wouldn't even bother telling you guys the notes because it doesn't smell like the notes. It smells like a synthetic crappy fragrance, and I want to sell it. I want to get rid of it. It's not worth mentioning. And to wrap everything up, I'm going to show you guys my Cologne fragrances. And some of these are more of my husband's, but we keep them all in the same display. So I figured I'd show you guys what I have access to. So this one is Valentino Uomo Born Aroma. This one is a little bit peppery. It's a little bit dark, but still fresh and sexy, and this would be a great gift for any guy in your life because it is a crowd pleaser, it's non-offensive, and it goes from day to night and would be appropriate in the office or for a date. This is YSL Y. This is the Eau de Toilette version, so it's a little bit lighter than the Eau de Parfum, of course. This is a citrus aquatic fragrance. It's very light, it's very fresh, and it doesn't have quite like the sex appeal that the Uomo Born Aroma has. This is a little bit more clean daytime, fresh out the shower, good after the gym, just good like office fragrance. And we have a very, very loved bottle. This is almost finished, but this is Lom Yuseilo. And this to me is almost kind of the combination of the last two, where it has a little bit of the deeper, woodier incense sexiness, and then a little bit of the bright, fresh in the beginning, but not as citrus as YSL Y. So this one is also a good kind of in-between fragrance. And this was my husband's signature scent for many, many, many years. As many of you know now, his scent is Burberry Her, because it has that lovely effervescent, you know, kind of sweet strawberry, but then is ground down a little bit with kind of cologne-y, almost like Baccarat Rouge, just a little bit. But before that, he was rocking Clinique Happy for Men. And this is an orange fragrance. This is just a very, almost like the smell of an orange peel as you're peeling it. Just the true orange oil. Very bright, very uplifting, very clean, not super long lasting, just a good refreshing fragrance. And last but not least, out of the entire collection, I have Gucci Guilty por Homme. This is definitely along the lines of the Valentino Uomo Born Aroma, where it's a little bit sexy of a fragrance, it's a little bit deep, it's a little bit dark and peppery. And this one I think is the most alluring out of all of the men's, quote, men's fragrances that I have, but I really like to wear this in the evening time, or the times where I'm trying to, maybe if I don't feel confident, this gives me a confidence boost because it has a commanding energy to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed looking at all of my full bottles of fragrance. I'm definitely in the infancy of, you know, my journey with fragrances, but I'm also, I don't know about you guys, I'm not terribly interested in having such a massive collection that I have to dedicate an entire room to it and spend all my money. I want to be able to do this channel, but I don't want to do it in a way that's going to run me into the ground, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna try and make some cool videos with the things that I have. I'm always up for suggestions, so if you guys have any, like, if you ever want like a dedicated review to a specific fragrance that I talked about today, let me know. And I always appreciate your guys' feedback and comments. It's so fun to be able to talk to you guys because a lot of my friends are not interested in fragrance. So it's, you know, I try to talk to them about it and they're like, yeah, smelly water, sounds good. Like, so that's why I have my internet friends. You guys are the best. And if you haven't checked out the first 3 videos in this series, go check them out and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.